Man, today I was gonna exclusively simp for Gredora, but now that Suisse is playing Vanguard 0, I gotta simp both channels. You can see where my priorities are. Sorry, Dr. O. Alright, let's bring up Twitter, boys. There's like English has been really fast this time with the translations. And looks like it's good, because this mechanic looks a bit more different than the others. And at least we can get the correct translations. So let's get started. We got 3 new cards today. We got Dark Face. Actually, we got 4, because we have to include the Cradle, right? Let's look at the Cradle first. So, the unit with a Cradle marker loses its original ability, gets its power reduced to by its original power, and cannot boost or intercept. So it basically loses all its effect. It becomes a cocoon, you can see here. Gets stuck there, can't do anything. When the unit with a Cradle marker is retired, you can search your deck for up to 1 card with the same grade as that unit, reveal it and put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. The fighter that puts the Cradle marker will search. So what it means is that if I put a Cradle marker on your grade 2 and you retire it through any means, then, or I retire it through any means, then I search my deck for a grade 2 and add it to my hand. Pretty decent. Alright, so that's Cradle marker explained, and basically everything here will interact with the Cradle marker. So here we've got Intimidating Mutant, we've got Dark Face, alright, Dark Face. Intimidating Mutant Dark Face. When placed, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your opponent's rear guards without any Cradle markers, and put a Cradle marker on it. So you just discard one, put a Cradle marker. It's kind of fine, because basically you're discarding one, putting a Cradle marker on something, and then when it gets retired, you get to a plus. So that's pretty good. And then it's just explaining the entire the Cradle mechanic. And then when it attacks Vanguard, counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards with a Cradle marker on it and retire it. And this unit gets plus 5,000 until the end of that battle for each grade of the chosen unit. So basically grade 3, you get 15k. And that's about it. So it's okay, discard one, put a Cradle marker, blah blah blah, and you get power. That's nice. Grade 2, we have Despoiling Mutant Sticky Bolus. She looks like overwhelmed, don't you think? Kind of. Yeah, she looks pretty good. Vanguard and Rearguard, when placed, counterblast 1, look at this top 6 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to a total of 2 cards of Dark Face in their different card names from one and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. So, okay, so if the only 2 Dark Face cards are revealing are Mutant Dark Face and Dark Face Gredora, then that might kind of suck a bit, because I personally am not rating the Dark Face, but maybe, yeah, sure, it's a +2, alright, thins the deck, possible +2. And then when it attacks, you can Soul Blast 1, and this unit gains 6,000 until the end of that battle for each of your opponents' rear guards with a Cradle marker on them, and if the unit's power is 20,000 or greater, then draw a card. So, overall, that's pretty good. You just Soul Blast 1, draw a card, it's like a Smoke Gear, so you got 3 Cradles, so that's pretty decent. And then lastly, got our cool looking beast here. We got the Gredora, looking very, very hip, very nice. Act counterblast 1, Vanguard only. Choose up to 2 of your opponent's rear guards without any Cradle markers, and put a Cradle marker on each of them. So, like, the idea of this Cradle marker looks like you can't actually stack the Cradle markers as well, so only once you go. And then explanation, and then when it attacks, you may retire a rear guard, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3, call it to rear guard circle, and shuffle your deck. If you called, that unit in this unit gets 10k. So at least hit some numbers, makes it multi-attack. That's the solution for buffing Protect, just multi-attacks. So one of the combos you can do with this card, and they showed it on stream, is that you can call out Heldemise to stand your other column, and if it's a Sticky Bolus, you can do that Soul Blast 1 and draw again. So, pretty interesting. It makes like Gredora hit 22, it makes your grade 3 hit 22, and then your Sticky Bolus will hit a certain number and just do an extra attack and get 5 attack. 5 attack protects. 5 is the new number in standard. 5 trigger checks, 5 attacks. Everything is a 5er. You know what's crazy is that today we also got a bunch of other PRs that gotten released too, not just Gredora. Some of them are pretty game changing. Let's go through them really quickly. So we got the Angel Feather one here. Regard Circle Act, put this unit into your soul, and swap a unit card in your hand with a card in your damage zone. This ability may only be used by a card of the same name once per turn. So it's a hard once per turn. It's like, I guess you can play this out and then you can do stuff with it, and then when you want to get rid of it, you can put it to soul and then swap. It countercharges one as well, so I guess that's pretty good. It's okay. It's okay. Compared to the old card, that was like counterblast one and swap, so that was like a net nothing. This one at least gives you one more countercharge, so it's all right. Nothing really big for Angel Feather in my opinion. Now this one seems pretty darn good. When discarded, this was Shadow Paladin. When discarded from your hand during your turn, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, put up to 1 card from among them into the drop zone, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then another effect in the drop zone, continuous effect, when this card would be bound from your drop zone by the ability of your Claret Sword Dragon. If you have 7 or more grade 1 cards in your hand, in your bind zone, sorry, this card is regarded as 7 grade 1 cards. So it's pretty much you use Claret Sword's effect, you bind this, and you're done. That means you don't have to super turbo your deck as much anymore, I guess. At the same time, you know, you can consecutively use Claret Sword's effect as well. So I think it's a pretty nice buff to Claret Sword overall. I don't know how far they'll push it, but it's definitely something really good. And I don't know, maybe in premium, you know, with Chain Ranker, pretty decent. Next one, we have Murakumo. When placed, it's a Vanguard circle. When placed, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 card of the same card name as one of your units. Call it to rearguard circle and shuffle your deck. So that's pretty good. You ride grade 2, you get a +1. And then continuous on the rearguard circle. During your turn, if you have another unit with the same card name as this unit gets 10k. So if you have 2 of the same unit, bam, both of them get 10k. Hits 19, pretty decent. We got Dimension Police. That's pretty good. At the end of the battle that it attacked while boosted, if you have a Vanguard with Cosmic Hero in its card name, you may Soul Blast 1 and stand this unit. End of battle that a boot. Okay, so if you don't have a way to stand your booster, then you can't use the effect. But I feel like in premium, right? You know, if you get stand, there's possibilities there. I think there is possibilities there. I'll let you guys figure that one out. And then we got Dark Irregulars. Retire this unit, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, retire it, and soul charge 2. Ooh, okay, okay. I think this is a pretty good premium card, actually. No counterblast or soul blast requirement for this. It's literally free, except you have to retire itself. And you get to retire your opponent's rearguard, but most of all, you get to, it's basically just soul charge 2. So I think that's pretty interesting, because one of the ways to deny Dark Irregulars was to deny the counterblast. They can't use Emblem Master and things like that, but this one just says no. This one just gives you soul charge to anything, so that seems pretty interesting. And lastly, we've got Aquaforce. So Aquaforce, when placed, discard a card from your hand and draw a card. It's a very generic Vanguard Circle effect. And then Rearguard Circle continuous. If your opponent's Vanguard's current power is different from its original power, this unit can attack from the back row. So, okay, seems pretty decent. I don't know, how are you going to buff this? That's a quick, but I guess if you're playing Revan, you're minusing the power, so this will hit for a 5k anyway. So, okay. Alright, those are all the PRs. The Claret Sword one is definitely very interesting. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The Cradle Marker is the new mechanic. What do I think of it? So, here's the thought. Since you have to attach the Cradle Marker on a rearguard circle, that means, yeah, you know, well, not a rearguard circle, a rearguard, then it's kind of limited. It's like a very reactive card. Your opponent gets at least 1 usage out of that card before it gets locked down, and then after that they can kind of at least replace it. Okay, it's not like a lock where they can't even do anything about it. Standard, I think will just, yeah, it's standard, it's fine. Against decks like Night Rose that wipes the field, maybe not fine. So yeah, that's not cool. Like, imagine this, you basically kind of just scoop against any deck that can empty their field. So, that's interesting. In premium, what do I think about this card in premium? So, I mean, Cradle is cool, but not letting your opponent call stuff is even better. Like, I don't see how, yeah, I don't see how you can use this card in Premium much, because it's an act skill, and the auto is like, it's like Vanguard only. I mean, when you ride grade 3 as well, I feel like the grade 4 Gredora just covers this pretty well, and it has a better effect. And then your original grade 3 Gredora is like, just doesn't really care if your opponent has any units on the field. In fact, it's better if your opponent doesn't have anything on the field. So it can just lock that whole column down, and then at least it gives you a counter charge ability at the end of turn 9. We all know in Premium, counter charge is very, very important. So this gives you nothing. It basically just gives you a protect marker and a 1k higher base defense. So I still think in Premium, the correct play is still to use OG Gredora. Though that, like, that's yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, the if you're not like running a cradle heavy mechanic as well, you can't really use any of these other cards too. So, like, I guess it's tough. I guess the like sticky bolus, right? You can Soul Blast 1 and you don't have to gain any power, but as long as it's over that certain power line, it'll still get the draw, so that's nice. But otherwise, like, what, Dark Face, that, it's really hard to say. I can't really see this card being better than original Gredora. And, like, when you think about it, right, against aggressive decks in Premium, they just don't really care if they want to, like, they can just play with their stuff. But I guess, like, and against, like, things like Dark Irregulars, if they have units on the field, you're probably dead. You're probably dead. I guess a pretty interesting thing you can do with this is you can, like, put Cradle markers on 0s or 1s, and then when they get rid of that, then you can get null guards, you get perfect guards. That's pretty cool. But apart from that, again, it's a very, very reactive card, and unless you have, like, super reactive abilities in Premium, then you probably don't really see any play. This card is technically too slow of a reaction for Premium. But in Standard, I think it's relatively fine, unless your whole meta is just not Rose. Then you might as well just go play Gutting Colio and just try and mill them out, right? So overall, I like the art for this. I'm gonna get all the sleeves and merch for Gredora, of course, because it looks pretty slick. And I think that's enough simping for tonight. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys later. Let me know what you think of Gredora, this new mechanic, this new Cradle mechanic. And yeah. Bye.